Have you ever wondered if the Bible is really true? Or maybe thought, what if it's just another ancient myth like stories of Zeus or Hercules? Maybe the writers used real names and places but invented the stories. That's a fair question. And today, we're going to dig deep. I'll share with you more than 10 physical proofs of Bible stories that still exist today. And along the way, we'll answer the tough objection. Is the Bible just myth disguised as history? So stay with me, because the evidence might surprise you. First, let's deal with the biggest question. Has the Bible been changed over time? In 1947, archaeologists found the Dead Sea Scrolls, manuscripts of the Old Testament written over 2,000 years ago. When compared to the Bible we read today, they matched almost word for word. Over 95% identical, with tiny spelling differences, nothing that changes meaning. The New Testament is even stronger. We have over 25,000 manuscripts, some from less than 100 years after the originals. Compare that with Plato. 7 copies, written 1,200 years after his death. Caesar's writings, 10 copies, from 1,000 years later. Nobody questions those. But the Bible has way more evidence than any other ancient book. If we can't trust the Bible's preservation, then logically we'd have to throw out almost all of ancient history. Now let's check the stories themselves. Did they happen? Archaeology says yes. Old Testament evidence: Dead Sea Scrolls, 1947, Qumran Caves. Manuscripts of almost every Old Testament book dated approximately 250 BC 70 AD. When compared to today's Hebrew Bible, they are nearly identical, proving scripture wasn't corrupted over thousands of years. Tel Dan Stele, 1993, Israel. A 9th century BC stone inscription by an Aramean king that mentions the House of David. First extra-biblical reference to King David, confirming he was a real historical figure. Mesha Stele, Moabite stone, 1868, Jordan, mentions King Omri of Israel, 1 Kings 16, and conflict with Moab. Confirms Israel's existence and biblical conflicts. Sennacherib's Prism, Assyria, approximately 690 BC. Records King Sennacherib's campaign against Judah, 2 Kings 18-19. He boasts of trapping Hezekiah like a bird in a cage, but notably does not say he conquered Jerusalem, matching the Bible's account that God spared the city. Cyrus Cylinder, Persia, 6th century BC. Declares how King Cyrus allowed exiled peoples to return home. Matches Ezra 1:1-4, where Cyrus lets Jews return to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple. New Testament evidence: Pontius Pilate Inscription, 1961, Caesarea Maritima, Israel. A stone inscription mentioning Pontius Pilate, prefect of Judea, confirms the existence of the Roman governor who condemned Jesus, Matthew 27. The Pool of Bethesda, John 5:1-15. Once doubted as legend, it was excavated in Jerusalem with 5 porticos, exactly as John described. Erastus Inscription, Corinth. In Romans 16:23, Paul mentions Erastus, the city treasurer. Archaeologists found a pavement stone in Corinth inscribed with his name, dating to the 1st century. Gallio Inscription, Delphi, Greece. Confirms Gallio was proconsul of Achaia, Acts 18:12. Helps date Paul's missionary journeys with precision. Nazareth Inscription, 1st century AD. An imperial decree against moving bodies from tombs, likely a reaction to early Christian claims of Jesus' resurrection. That's not myth, that's stone, clay, and history proving the Bible. And consistency. Written by about 40 authors over 1,500 years in different languages, Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, across continents, yet it tells one unified story of God's plan. Prophecy. The Bible contains hundreds of fulfilled prophecies. Example: Isaiah 53 describes the suffering Messiah centuries before Jesus. Micah 5:2 predicts the Messiah's birth in Bethlehem. Now let's face the objection. Maybe the Bible just mixed history with myth, like stories of Zeus. Ancient writings versus biblical writings. Myths, like Greek or Mesopotamian myths, usually have no historical anchors, no dates, no precise locations, no genealogies. They deal with once-upon-a-time stories, timeless, vague. The Bible, full of specific details, names of kings, reign years, places, battle records, lineages. Example: Luke 3 lists 15 different rulers when John the Baptist began preaching. That's historical writing, not myth-making. If biblical authors were just making myths, there would be contradictions with history. Instead, archaeology keeps confirming the accuracy of details. Zeus has no historical anchors. Zeus is described only in myths. He rules on Mount Olympus, throws thunderbolts, and has countless mythical children, but there is no date when Zeus supposedly lived, no genealogy that connects him to real people in history. No archaeological evidence, no inscriptions, coins, seals, or monuments showing that Zeus was ever a real ruler or person. In other words, Zeus exists only in legend. The God of the Bible is different. The God of the Bible reveals himself through real historical events. He spoke to real people like Abraham, Moses, David, and Jesus, whose lives are tied to specific dates, places, and rulers. Example: Jesus wasn't described as a man from a faraway land. He was born in Bethlehem, under Caesar Augustus, grew up in Nazareth, taught in Galilee, was crucified under Pontius Pilate, a governor we know from inscriptions and Roman history. Archaeology keeps confirming these details: David's dynasty on the Tel Dan Stele, Hezekiah's seal, Pilate's inscription, the Pool of Bethesda, etc. See the difference? Zeus equals sign myth, no history. The God of the Bible equals sign history, genealogy, archaeology, evidence. Every time archaeology tests the Bible, it confirms it, not exposes it. Here's another difference. Myths don't predict the future. The Bible does. Isaiah, 150 years before Cyrus was born, named him and predicted he would allow the Jews to return home. That's written history, before it happened. Daniel described the rise and fall of Babylon, Persia, Greece, and Rome centuries before those empires came and went. No myth does that, only the Bible does, and then we come to Jesus. The writers weren't telling stories hundreds of years later. They were eyewitnesses. Peter says, "We did not follow cleverly devised myths, but we were eyewitnesses of his majesty." Paul, writing just 20 years after the crucifixion, says more than 500 people saw Jesus alive. That's not the kind of thing you can make up while those witnesses are still alive. And even non-Christian historians, Josephus, Tacitus, Suetonius, mention Jesus, his crucifixion under Pontius Pilate, and his followers who believed he rose. That's history, not myth. And here's the biggest evidence of all: transformation. Myths don't change entire civilizations, but the Bible did. It shaped laws, inspired hospitals and schools, and transformed billions of lives, including mine. If it were just myth, it would have died out with the Roman Empire. Instead, it spread across the world, still changing lives today. So here's my message to you. The Bible isn't just proven by manuscripts and archaeology, it's proven by the way it speaks into our lives. If all this evidence is true, then the Bible isn't just another ancient book. It's God's word to you, telling you that you are loved, that you matter, and that He has a purpose for your life. Don't just stop at the evidence. Open it, read it, meet the God who wrote it. You might be surprised how real He becomes. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about all this? Does this evidence change the way you see the Bible? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if there's a question or topic you'd like me to cover in the next video, let me know down below. If this video helped you, give it a like, share it with someone who has doubts, and subscribe for more deep dives into faith, history, and truth. Let's keep discovering together.